Hi, my name is Jeremy Gorelick, and I'm the Program Director for ACORN, Access to Capital Oversight Reporting Nexus, one of the programs of ROCKBlue. Water utilities around the world face a number of different challenges. One of the most important ones, which we continue to see, is that as a result of climate change, we see that there are utilities that are struggling to be able to access the water that they need in order to be able to provide that to their clients and those across their catchment areas. So as there is this increased incidence of drought, of extreme heat events, of flooding, the quality of water and the availability of water is not there. But even if we do have available water, we see that there are other challenges that utilities are facing. From a technical perspective, many utilities are able to construct and see that they have treatment facilities, that they have the linear connection of huge networks that are able to provide for their clientele. But oftentimes there's an insufficient amount of money for operation and maintenance. So we can see that there's construction of great infrastructure around the world, and yet the infrastructure that's anticipated to have a useful life of 20 to 30 years often fails after 10 to 15. So we see that as being a second major challenge for utilities. The third, and the one that I care the most deeply about as far as what ACORN is able to deliver, is around access to finance. So even if utilities are able to overcome the challenges that are coming up as a result of climate change, even if utilities are able to design, operate, and then make sure from a long-term perspective maintain the infrastructure they need, there's still a challenge as far as the availability of access to finance. And so without having those funds that can deliver on the projects, utilities are unfortunately in a position that they're unable to meet their long-term goals and objectives. When we began the program, we knew that we needed to find a way to be able to address the needs of some of our partner utilities, many of whom have said that they greatly appreciate what it is that ROCKBlue is able to do from a technical perspective, but have recognized that where they really need support is on the financing side. For many of them, they've been able to benefit from ROCKBlue's support, but have said that the financial component is where their biggest gap lies, which is namely around how do they access the money that they need to develop and to deliver the infrastructure that they know that they need in order to be able to expand services and to provide maybe as close as possible universal access to water and sanitation, especially for vulnerable communities that they work in. One of the things that we saw was that if we are going to provide the support on the financial side and enable that access to capital, we actually needed to look more fundamentally at where the utilities were performing. And so that question ended up being a really critical one for us to start to think about. So when we looked at that, what we saw was that for many utilities, their financial management was not where it needed to be. They were struggling to be able to meet their debt service requirements and obligations, and actually where they ended up getting to was almost saying that we don't know if we can afford to take on any additional debt. We don't know if we can afford to take on any additional financing, and we need to look exclusively at grants. What we've been able to do over the first 2 years of ACORN is to work with 2 utilities in the pilot phase and to help them to improve their financial management. So what we've been able to do is to look with them at what their base finances look like. And what we've seen is that there are some very clear areas where we can help them to improve their performance. As a result of our support, we've seen that both utilities have increased both their gross and net revenue in ways that we did not expect, that they were able to see increases of 10, 20% over a 2-year period. And more importantly, we've also been able to see that they've had a drastic reduction in what their costs look like because we've helped them to almost become more efficient, to look at where the gaps are, to look at where some of the challenges are as far as being able to deliver the services that they need to in ways that make the most sense. And as a result of all of that, we've been able to see that they can demonstrate a clearer financial picture. So where we're at now is we have ultimately been able to support 2 utilities in the pilot phase to improve their financial management in very quantitative ways, to objectively measure off of a baseline where they've gotten to. But we've also been able to help to link them up with financiers, development partners, donors who want to make grants, and others. And as a result of that, we're able to say, this is a model that works. What I want to talk with you today about is the fact that we are now at a place that we have a proven model that we are looking to scale to be able to address the needs for as many utilities as possible. Because if we do want to meet SDG 6, if we do want to see universal access to water and sanitation, especially for vulnerable communities, that will not happen without doing a systematic approach similar to what ACORN has embraced as far as ensuring that utilities are operating in a way that is as commercial as possible and that delivers on the goals that we have and we know that you have as well. As a result of support from ACORN, utilities can expect several key deliverables. First, improved financial management, which can be demonstrated through very explicit quantitative terms, looking to see how has a utility improved over its baseline. Second, ACORN is in possession of a strong financial management tool, which can be used not only by ACORN professionals themselves, but also ultimately by utilities. And as one of the key activities that ACORN does is capacity build. One of those capacity building moments is when a utility itself is able to identify and use that tool to be able to make its own projections into the future. Third, and probably most critical for utilities, as a result of ACORN's support, ACORN is able to help utilities to be able to compile and prepare packages of information around its key projects and be able to ultimately access the finance that's needed to deliver on those projects. ACORN was founded in 2021 after a plea from utilities to have support in addressing some of the financial challenges and obstacles that were arising, not only as a result of COVID, but also as a result of an inability to pay by some of the most vulnerable members of the population in the catchment areas for utilities. As a result of all of that, ACORN was in a position to really identify how best can we go about providing the types of support, the types of interventions that are most valuable for utilities. What we did was we decided rather than to go broad and provide support to dozens of utilities, we would pilot with using 2 utilities. And so we worked with 2 of the most promising utilities, but also 2 that needed some help as far as financial management. With that information and with having a basic idea on how we wanted to approach this, we were able to support those 2 utilities to significantly improve their revenue, significantly reduce their cost, to change the profile of their outstanding loans and debt, and prepare them to be able to access new forms of funding in the form of grants, as well as in the form of repayable finance that has made a material difference in their ability to meet the needs of their clients and basic population around where they are doing all of their work. There is no utility that would not be a good candidate for ACORN. Every utility, and I've been doing this for the past 20 years, every utility is going to need some form of support, whether we're talking those in developed or in developing countries. The best candidates, though, for ACORN are those that demonstrate a few key characteristics. First, a willingness and desire to improve their financial performance. Second, financial books and audits that are clean, but that nonetheless show that there is room for improvement. Third, projects that are in dire need of access to finance and where the utility itself has identified some areas for additional financing, but maybe is not clear on all of the different ways that it can access all of that funding. And fourth, probably most important for me, a belief that a utility can improve across everything, not just finance, but on its technical delivery, on its customer service and customer relations, and all of the other areas that many times don't get considered as part of the type of work that a utility should be taking on. So my answer, as I opened, there is no utility that's not good for ACORN, but those that are best positioned are those that come to me and say, Jeremy, as the manager, as the director for ACORN, we would like your help, and I will receive you with open arms.
My name is Siri Mbewe. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Lilongwe Water Board. Lilongwe, the capital city of Malawi, and we are serving approximately a population of 1 million people. Our partnership with ROCKBlue has been there since around 2018, and indeed we are happy to have been a pilot utility on the ACORN initiative along with ROCKBlue. Now, through this partnership with ACORN, it really has improved our operational efficiency and in particular our creditworthiness and thus improving our access to finance. As Lilongwe Water Board, we have an investment plan, and I'm happy to report that we have been able to self-finance our investment plan. And again, we have had other development partners again working with us.
My name is Gladwell Mpande. I am the Acting Director of Finance. Yes, indeed, we have been in partnership with ROCKBlue for a number of years now. This relationship is really bearing some fruits. We just recently undertook a credit rating, shadow credit rating, where we were assessed and given a shadow rating of BBB+ in terms of our standing. And so apart from this, we also did the financial model, which culminated into performance improvement plan. And we have been addressing the weaknesses that were highlighted in the model. And so with this partnership, I think the Lilongwe Water Board is becoming a better utility in terms of our services, and also we're looking forward to even accessing more financing helped by ROCKBlue in this partnership.